everybody, and Happy New Year. It is actually January 2nd because I am redoing this video. I went to put up the second video, or the first video, and the sound was not in alignment with the video. So I'm really hoping that the second time is the charm. So what I'm doing here is doing a 2019 favorite. So we are wrapping up and have wrapped up 2019 and are going to be obviously heading into 2020 or in 2020. And I love watching people's favorite videos, and so I thought I would make a favorite video. Now, I do have a decks in front of me, but I do have some other things too, like favorite other things of 2019 that I will try to not spend a ton of time on, as I know that's not everybody's what they're interested in. I will also try to remember to go in and put the times. So if you want, this first part is obviously here. If you go down to the description box below, I'll put a timing for the tarot decks and then timing for the oracle decks, so that if you just want to skip to those particular times and just see those, you can do so. So I'm going to start with the others. I will try to, again, keep that moving along, but I do have some variety of others. So I'm just going to kind of grab some things. I have tea. I'm a big tea drinker. Also, I have a coffee thing too, but I am more of a tea drinker than I am a coffee drinker. But I love peppermint tea. I like all things peppermint. I tend to have, over the course of my lifetime, have a lot of irritable bowel kind of thing, and peppermint's really good for that, and it's good for upset stomachs. It's just good for allergies, which I have loads of. So it just is a good all-around tea for me, but generally peppermint teas are in herbal teas that are not caffeinated, and I do love some caffeine, let's be honest, right? And this year Celestial Seasonings came out with Peppermint Peak, which is a peppermint tea, but it is in black tea. I don't know where to stick my face. It is a black tea, and this, I have drank so many boxes of this, as well as stockpiled some boxes of this, as I do with my favorite teas. I don't tend to drink like lots of flavors, so I don't tend to have like a cupboard full of all different kinds of teas and then I pull from those randomly. I tend to have a couple that I drink all of the time, and this has definitely reached #1 status because it's peppermint and it's caffeinated. So that was definitely a 2019 tea. This one is so I had two favorite teas. Candy Cane Lane tea, which was a very peppermint laden but no caffeine. Peppermint Peak took that over. The other favorite of mine is called Hot Cinnamon Spice by Harney and Sons. Now, I've never had this version. I've only had the version in a can. And I've had many cans of it. I still have cans of it. I stockpile it. It is like drinking a cup of, here goes Isabel. I can't find a quiet moment. The dogs are all worked up in the neighborhood today for some reason. And so one gets started and they all get going. So what are you going to do? Anyways, the can version, it's a tin, has what I would call loose leaf. Has chunks of cinnamon. You can see it's in triangle bag and you can see all the bits and bobs. My friend Kristen, who knows me well, she sent me this box because she knows this is my favorite tea, but it's a different form. It is a tea bag, so with fine grained like tea bag, because the problem with the other version is it's so strong. You can't leave the tea bag in too long, and it's just super strong, so I would drink it in those moments when I just wanted that cinnamon hit, because I love cinnamon probably as much as peppermint. But this I can just leave in like a normal tea, and I have not had it that long, and it's time for me to start stockpiling this. So this is definitely the second of the favorite teas for 2019. Now, for coffee, I am like in the last year to 2 years, started drinking coffee, but I don't drink a lot of coffee. And I have had a love-hate relationship with coffee makers, and then with a single serving Keurig that was the bane of my existence. And I was so frustrated because I didn't want to make a whole pot of coffee, because generally I was just drinking a cup of coffee, and I just had so many issues. And then I went looking for like French press or something of that nature, but I thought that would be too strong for me because I'm a lightweight. And I came upon this, and now I can see in the light it actually looks pretty needing to be cleaned out. It's actually clean, but it's got a lot of watermarks. What does that say about my water? I'm not sure. Anyways, this is a Chemex, and so it's a pour over coffee. So it has these special filters that have like 3 layers on one side, and you stick that in there, you put your coffee in, you drizzle the water over it, let it bloom a little bit, then you keep pouring it, fills it up, and then here's your cup of coffee. I love this thing. I love this thing. It makes, I can make, on this littler size one, I can make 2 cups of coffee. It's called, like, I think it may even be called a 4-cup coffee, because their coffee cups, or their cups are like 5 ounces. So if you're going to get one, really see what the ounces are, because I don't know many people that drink 5 ounces of coffee. I don't. And so, but if I fill this up here, it's 2 what I would consider normal size cups of coffee, which is perfect for me and another person, or just a single cup for myself, or 2 cups for myself if I'm in the mood for 2 cups. So I love this thing. Love this thing. Definitely a 2019 hit. I'm not going to bring it over here, but the other kitchen thing that's a big hit for 2019 is my Instapot. Do I love my Instapot? Yes, I love it beyond anything. Maybe it's hard because I do have a KitchenAid and I love my KitchenAid, but I think if I had to keep one like kitchen appliance, it would be my Instapot. I love it. But I'm not going to bring that over here. Okay, so those are some favorites of teas and coffee. In terms of coffee, I love, I can't remember what it's called. It's 8, something 8. I'm totally blanking on it. And I also like Folgers has a, it's like an 1889 or something like that, Folgers and Pioneer blend, that I really like as well, because I like nutty flavored coffee, and so that's what I tend to go for. Anyways, enough of that. Enough of coffee. Okay, I'm just going to keep moving through the random things. My Hobonichi planner. I have videos on this. I have a video on how much I love this, even though I'm going into my Midori, because I found a Midori insert that is set up the exact same way as this, but it's a little bit bigger, and I already have a Midori Traveler's Notebook, so it was easier and cheaper, aka free, because my friend Patrick sent me them. But if I bought them, it was way cheaper, so that's why I'm going with that. But I love everything about my Hobonichi Weeks. The only thing that I would say that I don't love about it is the paper is divine. It really is, but at the same time, it is very see-through. It's super thin, and so it is see-through. It's not enough to be a problem, and I use a fountain pen. You can definitely see ghosting through it, so that's not my favorite. I don't actually like being able to see ghosting in my paper, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how the Midori goes. But the setup is, for me, perfection. It, of course, has the monthlies in the beginning. It has a weekly. I'm a weekly setup person, and grid on the other side, so I take the day all the way across, and it just works perfectly for me. And the Midori inset is the exact same setup. And then there is grid paper in the back. Now this is the Midori Weeks Mega, and if I purchased this again, I would just get the Midori Weeks, because I did not need that much grid paper. But I used this all the way through until my Midori took over in the middle of December. I don't know that I have monthly planners I've used all the way through, but like a full planner, I usually, by the end of the year, I'm kind of trying something different. No, this was absolutely perfect. And I used it all year without fail. It keeps me organized and it keeps me sane. So yes to the Hobonichi, even though I'm not purchasing it, it's not because I don't love it, it's because I'm trying something very similar, a little bit larger, and so far I'm liking the little bit larger format. So that's a must for 2019. I have some paint stuff because I love to paint and I do paint. And been in the process of painting my my journey tokens into a journey oracle. And so I've been doing a lot of painting. I have a lot of paint favorites. So I'm talking about watercolor paint if you're new to the channel. And I have a lot of favorites for different reasons. Like I will go and love Sennelier for transparency. There's M-Gram is beautiful, like flat washes of color. So I have a lot of paint and I love them for different reasons. And I will use different brands for specific reasons. But in terms of an all-around, always going back to, for me, it is, oops, that's the back. I just have it written on here in this tin. It's a Daniel Smith paints. They are so vibrant and they are so textured. I love the granulation. I love what they do. I just love Daniel Smith watercolor paints. And so there's no question to me that I have lots of brands that I love and I use them. But if I picked one ultimate brand, it's so hard for me to pick one ultimate anything, but it would probably be Daniel Smith just because they're just gorgeous paints. And so yeah, that one had to go there for that. Paintbrushes, I paint in small formats, so I'm not painting watercolor big formats, but my ultimate, I don't know why I brought that one over here. I didn't mean to do that. This is I think it's called a cat's tongue, and it's a 1/2 inch Princeton Neptune. I have, I think, a more expensive brand than this. This is my favorite. I probably use this brush in every single painting that I paint in some way or another. I love this brush. It holds just the right amount of water and pigment. It can get quite pointed, but it has the long swash on it. I just love this brush so much. And then I also love Winsor & Newton Series 7. This is the 000, but I also have, I think, 0 and 00 for fine details, and I love this. Other forms of entertainment are gaming. I'm a gamer. I love to game. I've been a console gamer for much of my life. Then for World of Warcraft, I switched to being a PC gamer for many, many years. In the last couple years, I guess, I've played a lot of games on my iPad. So I played definitely a lot of Lords Mobile, which is an iPad game, or iPhone, or I'm sure it's on Android as well. But for console gaming, this game, Horizon Zero Dawn, is amazing. It's a single player, run around, quest, 1,000 years from now, machines from the land, and mankind is no longer the dominant species. A young hunter embarks on a journey to discover her destiny, explore beautiful, lush open world, overcome overwhelming odds at every step, and discover ancient mysteries. And I love this game. I haven't finished it yet, but I absolutely love it. So this is for PlayStation 4. I'm assuming oh no, it says only on PlayStation, so I'm not sure this is on anything else. But I love, 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 love this game. I'm currently playing Black Desert, which is a MMORPG, kind of in the lane of World of Warcraft, although it's not the same. Anyways, so that one is a standout game. So jumping from games, let's see. Oh, here's a random makeup. So I'm not a makeup person, but my sisters are. I have 3 sisters, and they are all younger than me by 12 years is the smallest gap. So 12 years, 17, and 19 years. So and then I have a daughter and a niece. And so they do try to keep me at least looking somewhat presentable. But one of the things that I have found, let's just pause, we won't talk about this long, don't worry, don't zone out too fast, but as you get older, and I'm in my 50s now, and as you get older, your skin gets a little more flat, I found. I've never been had like greasy problems, and I've never been dry either. I think I've always just been normal. But I feel like your skin as you get older gets just a little bit lackluster, and so dry products, like dry blushes and things like that, I just feel like just leave you kind of looking flat. And so I hunted everywhere trying to find a good like stick blush, and this Milk, it's called Milk Makeup is the brand, and it says it's for lips and cheeks. I only use it on my cheek, and this is in the color, I can't even tell, Work, but W-E-R-K. Not a big fan of those types of namings, but I love this stuff. I actually have my mom get one too, and she loves it too. It smells good, and it's amazing. It's fantastic. You probably can't tell it here because the camera flattens everything or brightens everything or darkens. It's always doing something, but in person I feel like it has a flush to it. And it has much more of a youthfulness if you're getting a little bit up there in age. So love this stuff. It's like one of those things that like I looked and looked and looked and looked, and then I found this and I was like, oh, that's it. It's a little bit of makeup. I didn't bring one over here, but I have to say, there is a nail polish system called Dazzle Dry. I am not sponsored by them. I should be sponsored by them because I love it so much, because as a professional reader who films her readings and does walkthroughs, people are looking at my nails for an hour long, for a reading anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes. They're sitting there staring at my nails. So I had to paint my nails constantly, and I went through gel nail. I went through all kinds of things. I didn't want to have my nails done professionally. I don't have the money for it, nor do I just, it's not my thing. Dazzle Dry is amazing. You put like an underlayer coat, and then you put the color coat, and then there is a top coat, and it stays the longest of any nail polish that you can do at home that I've ever tried, and I adore it. So it's called Dazzle Dry. There's a system. I don't think you can buy it in stores. I've only ever ordered it on their website, and then I have a cousin who has a nail salon, so when she puts in an order, then I can sometimes put in an order there. But I'm obsessed with it because it is amazing. So I didn't bring that over, but that has to be a 2019 game changer for me. Okay, so there's makeup and nail polish. I do have some essential oils. I use essential oils both for setting intentions. I have it diffusing a lot of times. I use it in roller balls for headaches and things like that, and I have for years and years. My mom has used it as well. So this is not a video on essential oils. I do not recommend that you just grab essential oils and slap it on your skin. I think you are responsible for doing your own research and figuring out what works for you, and being mindful about anything that you put into your body or onto your body. Qualification there. But for me, the standout essential oils for 2019 always is going to be peppermint. Peppermint is almost always in my diffuser. It is one of two. So I would say, for me, my experience, and this is because of my own issues, two essential oils that everybody should have would be peppermint and lavender, because separately, amazing for allergies, amazing for nausea, things of that nature. For lavender, it's like they always say, if you read a lot about essential oils, they're like, if you have one essential oil, it should be lavender. Absolutely amazing for burns. I burnt myself so bad, and I found out firsthand how absolutely incredible lavender is when you burn yourself. Like, everybody should have lavender just for burns. But also for headaches, I get migraines, peppermint and lavender for myself. My daughter uses it for migraines and headaches. Rolls on the back of the neck and on the foreheads in a carrier oil. this is like a win-win combo. Love these two, would not be without them. And this is the only floral scent I probably have. I don't know if helichrysum is considered a floral scent, probably. Anyways, I get migraines from floral scents, but lavender I just deal with because I love it so much. The other thing that's usually in my diffuser is orange. Sometimes by itself, sometimes with peppermint. I love peppermint and orange. They're both kind of uplifting. They're high notes. So the orange is like energizing, and then the peppermint is clearing out my sinuses and also energizing, and I just like the smell of it. So lots of orange is important for me. Citrus smells for me, because I get migraines from like perfumey floral notes. Citrus is, I love the scent. But this year I will say that frankincense has been a big go-to. Again, as an older woman, I find that I get like dry patches of skin, especially like on my shoulders, lifetime of sun exposure, sometimes on my chest area, where again, lifetime of sun exposure. And I've found frankincense to be really fantastic for that. So those are definitely probably the ones that I use the most consistently and are like standouts for 2019. Along the line of essential oils is my Kelly's water. I have a video on this, although I think I've changed a little bit the recipe, because it's perfected now. Like this, my daughter uses it to clear and cleanse her D&D dice when they are not rolling well. My whole apartment always smells like it, because it is, every time I pull decks out, it's sprayed in here. It's sprayed on my reading table. It's sprayed on my working table. It's sprayed on my sacred spaces when I clear them out. It's just sprayed everywhere, and I love it. So this would be my version of Florida water. You can look up Florida water. There's lots of ways that people use it for clearing, cleansing, protection, energy, and I can't work with Florida water because it gives me headaches because of the floral tones. So I found a recipe for Florida water and used the same percentages of the different notes. Like there's an herbal note, there's a floral note, there's a citrus note. I used the same formula, but instead of a floral note, I used bergamot. I think sometimes there's one other I've used before, but I tend to use bergamot, which is a citrus floral, but it doesn't have that florally note to it. So it's the best smelling thing ever, and I've tweaked it in a little bit and kind of come to this perfect formula of Kelly's water. So it has like peppermint, and I'm bad about things off the top of my head, but it's got peppermint in it, it's got orange in it, it's got bergamot in it. It may have Palo Santo essential oil in it. Yeah. It smells amazing, and I love it so much. Like this is the number one spritzy, magic-y based thing that I probably use. So I love, and I just love the smell of it. Okay, so that's essential oils. Crystals. I have a lot of crystals, and I use a lot of crystals. My reading table is covered in crystals, and they're all there for a purpose. They aren't, part of the purpose is they look beautiful. I do like my tables to look aesthetically pleasing. If my working space looks wretched, it probably means I'm not in a good space. It's part of the ritual of setting up that works for me really well. And so yes, they are beautiful, but they're all there and they all have a purpose for them being there. So I do probably need this year to do like an updated what are the crystals that are out and about and being used all the time. But for the ones that stand out in 2019, this is a pyrite point. I'm not a crystal expert, again, so this is just my own personal experiences, so I will get things wrong. But it's like a tower. And this is like having a cup of coffee. I talked about my Chemex, which I love. This is very similar to a cup of coffee. I use a lot of pyrite. I have a lot of various tumbles, rough and smooth, and I use them in a lot of working, so I love pyrite. But this bigger piece of pyrite, when I hold this, I have that sense of having had a cup of coffee. It's extremely energizing. It is definitely a standout of 2019. Another one has to be my smoky quartz. So this is always on my working table. It had two pieces of hematite that were attached to it that came off in the shipping. It's Lemurian. It has all of the lines on it, and it's just dark and gorgeous, and it feels really powerful. Like this is like the magician. Like when I hold this, I feel like the magician card. I have what I need to do. I have the energy that I need to do the things that I need to do. That's how this makes me feel. Definitely stand out for 2019. The other one is this piece of Tibetan quartz. Now I have another piece that I have recently gotten that is also very, for me, ancestral energy, but this all year long, this piece of Tibetan quartz is just pure ancestral energy in sort of a bossy way. But it really steps up to the table and wants to be on the table, in my opinion. Again, this is all personal opinion, for ancestral work. And it's just been an absolutely amazing crystal to work with. And then lastly, again, I have so many, but I'm just trying to talk about the standout ones. If you've followed my channel, you know that usually in December I have a deck of the month. I feel like I'm holding like a globule of light, right? Like that. I don't know what it looks like recorded, but in the camera, when I'm looking on the screen, it literally looks like I'm just holding a bright ball of light. But unless I kind of turn it back from this angle, it's just like pure light. For many reasons, for the first time in a while, I did not have that this year. I really wanted an ocean oracle, but there were no ocean oracles that were what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for ocean animals. I was looking for ocean energy. And I still am, and I don't think it's out there. So when I'm done with one oracle deck, maybe I need to paint an ocean oracle, but we'll worry about that later. But anyways, I never quite found what I was looking for, and this piece of selenite, the selenite sphere, took the place of a deck. I held this so much through the course of December, and it really did function as that supportive energy throughout the month of December for me in grief work. I generally work with obsidian. I have an obsidian sphere that I have used for years in grief work. It really grounds. Sometimes grief can feel like you're, especially in the earlier years of grief, in my experience, everybody's experience is different, but especially in the earlier years, it feels like you're not a whole person. You're deconstructing. Pieces of you are deconstructing, and obsidian feels like it pulls you, roots you and grounds you, and pulls you into a grounded space where you're pulling those pieces together, for me. But this month, or December, the month of December, just for that support and that sort of healing energy, that kind of hug energy, this selenite sphere has been absolutely key. So I had to, of course, talk about that. Okay, so those are crystals that just stand out in 2019. So I think that's good enough for now, and let's shift over to the thing that most people are probably waiting for, which is decks.